Comrades, I am Admiral Andre, and welcome back to the second installment of the Voskhod build. Now, I have to say, this is future me speaking, so once I'm done here, you will see me again as I was before, so continuing with the previous episode. However, I felt it was necessary to make this little bit of a junction here, or a interjection, I suppose, to speak about the airlock. There's the curious case of the airlock in the nighttime, comrades. Let's have a look at it. So here we are. I've loaded up the vehicle again. I will make this available right after I upload the episode. Now, comrades, as one person pointed out in the comments of the previous episode, I'm going to butcher your name, so please, I beg your forgiveness, Kresimir. Yes, there is indeed another door on the Voskhod, and that is essentially where the inflatable airlock was attached. I had to look this up to make sure, and that is absolutely correct. So we're going to have to make some changes here. Now, let's just move all of these things away. So you'll see now, after I'm done doing this, I'm still going to go back into the past and attach it on this side, so I ask your forgiveness for that, but it still could be an interesting thing because I share my reasoning for that. And I still think it's relatively sensible because the fact that you have more doors on a craft introduces more failure points, and that is exactly what happened with the Voskhod 2. The airlock door didn't seal properly somehow after the spacewalk, and the craft was losing atmosphere the whole time. So that was indeed a problem. Now, of course, I also looked this up. I think this is the visor. I'm not sure again about the pronunciation, but the visor is that window where you look out with the lines for magnifying or tracking the ground. And obviously this covers it up now, so that is a bit of a problem, especially in the Kerbal context where we have this window jutting out here. So we're going to have to now imagine that the airlock somehow fits over this and still works, but then obviously you won't have access to that window until you jettison the airlock. So that's just something to keep in mind. But you know, I do suppose it makes sense because in Vostok, the pilot, for example, Yuri, he would lie here and then, of course, his head is pointing towards the main door here. So he would be looking at the visor here at his feet, essentially. And now that we have 2 and 3 crew adaptations of the Vostok, of course they changed the orientation, so they're now pointing this way, so they have to look to the side to see the visor here. But now obviously if you attach the airlock on the door or the place opposite of this normal door, then it would cover up the visor in real life as well, unless they moved it, but I doubt it, because you know that was the whole thing about Voskhod being sort of a very quick build there. So they rushed some of the things. Anyway, I think this will work. Also, I made a small discovery when I played around with this a bit more. It really helps if you keep the decoupler outside of the capsule. That makes it detach very smoothly. So now we just put this on, but keeping the decoupler outside like that. Then we move the rest of it. I'm actually quite happy with that. It still has to be a bit of movement though. You know, that's it. That's what I want. So it's got a nice uniform appearance there. So now it's correct again. And the other thing that I have to do is, of course, flip the service module here back so that the antennas point in the correct direction. So yes, I like this. I also added 2 more antennas to the bottom in a way that won't interfere with the thrusters there. And also, if I have a look again at some images, the antennas on the bottom here, these extra ones, they really were right at the bottom, so not somewhere in the middle. Now, the other thing, the last point before we jump back into the past, if I can just move this back down here, I'm going to have to fix all the staging and all of that. Is that good? Yes, I like that. Now just put this back. That still works. Okay. The other thing is with this airlock, I found some images as well showing this. In terms of the fairings here, it actually did have like a cap here on the end. So the airlock did in fact protrude through the fairing. But of course they adapted and put one of, I would say, almost these aerodynamic nose cones on the end there. Like that, so it has this rounded shape there. Now unfortunately we can't attach anything to the inflatable airlock, not even a cubic strut here. You see, it just goes right through it. So I can't do that. I've thought about ways of trying to get around this, like putting another strut on the craft and then another decoupler and then moving them into the airlock and then having this detach. I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to you, comrades, because that might be a bit problematic. You see, then essentially we would have another one clipping into that one. And of course then this would also have to detach, so we would have two struts sitting over each other. I'm not sure if I like that. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, oh no, this is going to turn into another episode. That was not what the intention was. No, I think I was happy with that. Let's just go back. I was just thinking I don't want the octagonal strut to interfere with the window, but the window is not in the middle. So yes, unfortunately I can't just attach this nicely. You know, it would be so nice if I could then do it, and then obviously when we want to get rid of the fairing we just right click and say decouple node, but it doesn't work like that. So anyway, I'm going to leave it like this. What is going on here in the middle now? What on earth is happening here? Why do we have this here? Oh, it's this whole story again. Every time we move something, the decoupler stays behind. Edit the fairing and so on. So anyway, comrades, I'm going to end here now and then go back to the past and continue with the episode. Also, the other thing, oh goodness gracious. You know, there was this comment that was absolutely correct. I have this scatterbrained approach to building things, but I see it as being flexible and open to change because we have to adapt the whole time. But I did in fact bring in this new engine, the Kodiak, which is the appropriate one for the Voskhod, not the old one. So you will see this again in the video now, that I still use the old one, but do know that I have updated that. I'm actually wondering now, I probably shouldn't do this. It would actually look more accurate to have it look like this, you know, not with a fairing right up to the end. Or would it? No, I'm gonna leave it because I did see an image where these fitted in here like that. No, that's why I did it like that. So leave it just like that. Okay, continue with the rest of the episode now, and then I will now continue with the Soyuz, and then that will be the next episode. So, cue the next part. Let's find some more crew. So we of course still have Valentina. Oh, I haven't changed their suits yet. That's so awesome. I love that. Now let's find... So she's the pilot. We need another scientist and another engineer. Let's find someone good. Stupidity is a bit high. Lynn Monkerman. She is very smart, but she also doesn't have a lot of courage, which is perhaps because she's very smart. We can't change her suit though. That's unfortunate. I wonder what configuration she will have. Then we need an engineer, so let's just see. We don't have many options here. Altzor or Jeff Does, I guess. I like the names that I can pronounce, so I guess we're going with Altzor then. Not too dumb, sort of average, but very courageous. So there we go, our next crew is ready. Although again we don't need 3, so I overdid it, but that's okay. So let us now work on this craft. We're happy with everything now, comrades. We just want to remove the upper nose cone and then add the airlock. Now I'm going to do this over the door because that makes most sense. We can't put it on the other side. There's a window, and this side means it's sort of at a weird angle now. And also, why would you have two doors? That's so risky. What if the seal breaks on one of them? No, good grief. You would do it on the door. Of course you would. So let's put a strut there. This is what I do now. So for this, I guess there's no way to tell when it's exactly in the middle, but we'll see when we put the airlock on. So what we want now is a small decoupler facing towards the door. Then we want the airlock. Also, we can turn the force down. It becomes the theme now, comrades. Let's put it to 10. This must be very gentle. So we get the inflatable airlock and attach it to that. There might just be, now this is another question. I just want to answer this for myself. Forgive me, comrades. Let me just find some pictures here. Voskhod Spacewalk. Just want to see something. This is pedantic and unnecessary to the extreme. Difficult to say. I can't see really. Someone will know, of course, but this is entirely up to you. No, not gonna bother with that. Of course it doesn't matter. So anyway, the issue that I was looking at is when you place it on like this and you EVA, the Kerbal EVA is upside down. Now I don't know in which direction Alexei Leonov exited the airlock, but of course in real life you can do it in any direction. So down, up, or whatever, it doesn't matter. But for our purposes, I think let's roll this thing around. So he's right side up there. Again, it doesn't matter, comrades. There is no right side up in space, but you'll see what I mean when we get to it. So we're going to leave the strut in there. So I'm going to actually move the whole thing in. Just get the local offset again and make sure that the airlock sits perfectly over the door. Perfectly. Now I think it needs to be rolled a smidge there. I'm not sure. Good grief. Maybe it was, you see, it's a bit too close on the top now. Now it's a bit too close on the bottom. Let's do it with the actual airlock. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now we just have to move the airlock a tiny bit. There's a bit of white of the door sticking out there. Okay, now it's at least uniform all the way around, and I want to move it in a bit more, or not really, no, just as long as that bottom fits flush with the door. Like that. There we go. I'm happy with this, comrades. So we now have our airlock. Now, of course, the issue is this sticks out even more, so our fairing is going to have to bulge out even more. But, you know, that's par for the course here. So let's make sure I have my staging sorted. Let's just get the thing back. Anytime you pick up a part like this, it always leaves the decoupler behind for some reason. Now that's a problem. Although we could have it stick out there, it doesn't really matter, but you know me by now. Edit this thing. Let's just see how far out it would need to go. Okay, that works, but it won't place it because it's clipping into it. Oh, no, that's too far. That's a bridge too far, comrades. I think this is the best we could get away with. Maybe it would have been better to let it clip. This does look a bit odd, don't you think? Good grief. Good grief. No. Undo. Oh, no. Now the whole thing is gone. Good grief. Alright. Never mind. We did save. So open, don't save, and use the one we just launched. Merge with this one and just take the top. Haha, not gonna fool me. What does this look like? You know, with the real thing, there was sort of a hole here. Especially with the Voskhod for the ejection in case of an abort. Okay, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to save this. Then I'm going to open the one that we just auto-saved there. There's a good reason for this. I just want to see if we can fit the fairing flush here. No, it won't do it. So there is going to have to be a slight offset anyway. And I think that is the least we could get away with. Okay, I think this will have to do. That's the closest I can make it. So we're gonna just save this as ABC, doesn't matter, save. Now open up the one we just had. And then load the one that we worked on now, ABC, merge it with this one, because you can't build the fairing through something. It won't allow it because it knows it's clipping. The only way to do it is to build it already and then fit it over something that already exists. Like that. I guess it will have to do. On balance, this is the better option than having this huge bulge on the top. That breaks the lines of the whole craft more than this. I know this is less than ideal, but in a non-ideal world, this is what we have to do. So okay, we're happy with this, and now we just have to figure out the staging again, because any change like that messes the whole story up again. Why are there two there? Oh, good grief. Has it now changed the line on the bottom? Yes, gonna have to edit this, not delete, just edit the bottom, because it's now a bit shorter. Good, okay, there we go. Now, is that correct? No, it's completely wrong again. Completely wrong. Okay. Get that up there, get this up there, get that up there. And that. Now, the other thing, turn down the force on the hydraulic attachment manifolds. All the way down to 10, because it already has its own retro rockets. Then, what else? Then we have this and this and that, and then we have that and that, and then that, and then that. Then before we do anything else, we detach the airlock. Actually, no, we detach that before we re-enter, but I'm going to put it above the engine because you might want to do some maneuvering with the craft, but you'll certainly not use the separatrons on the re-entry booster before you ditch the airlock. Then that goes, then that goes, then that goes, and then that goes. Save, for goodness sake, we're done with this, comrades. Let's go to space. Let's pick our crew. We want... Oh no! Okay, I'll cut this out. This gets too much. We need a 2-person variant, not the 3-person variant. I'll see you in a moment, comrades. There we go, comrades. You know, it's important to remember you can't keep a Kerbal engineer down. Never. Not a good one anyway. So I have done all that is necessary to do. I put the parachute back on, the antennas also on their action group. I put the retro booster rockets in there as well, the landing ones. We'll see how that goes now. Hopefully it's in the correct position. The airlock, all of that, comrades, we're ready. We're going to save this now because the previous save was still the 3-person variant. So this is, I'm going to, oh good grief. I'm going to say Voskhod 2. Now you'll remember the 2 is the 2 Kerbal version with the airlock there. I know that clipping there, oh good grief, it's going to be a bit of an issue. The other alternative is to move this whole thing back a bit to the very edge of where it starts to expand. We could even do it a bit more. It's going to have to go basically right to the very edge of it. There. Let's try it like this. I'll save again. Because when it expands, it goes out a long way anyway. So I think this might also help with the offsets of the mass and all of that. So let's do the same thing. I'll speed this up, comrades. We save. We pick our crew again. And Valentina and Linman, that's fine. Okay, here we can change their outfits. Let's take the new one and launch. See you in on the launch pad, comrades. Save again. Comrades, we made it to orbit. There's a few things, as always, that I want to change. One of them is we didn't auto-strut this capsule, so there was a bit of wobble in the rocket. So that's the one thing. The other thing was, okay, now my eye caught this. This one thruster needs to be moved in a millimeter more, but okay, it's not an issue. Let's separate. So in a bit of a higher orbit than the previous craft. Let's just extend the airlock. So now obviously the next stage is to activate the engine if you want to make some maneuvers here. Otherwise we would just extend this. Let's hope this looks nice still. Oh yes, that still looks nice. It's you see it's got quite a long extension there, so the fact that we moved it in a little bit was not a problem. We can close it again also if we want. It fits nice and snugly there. And yes, so ideally I would want that bottom part to show, because this top one is now actually moving right into the craft there. Oh well, it was designed like that, we shall say. Now press 1, and I might tweak that a bit more by extending the fairing a little and then moving the airlock out a bit. You know me. Then I think let's just get our orientation changed a little bit this way. And we're gonna go for a spacewalk. Of course we are, comrades. Let's lock it right there on that node. Okay. So let's have a look inside. This window still misbehaves. The railing or whatever it's called there, the sort of guide that we have a look for the ground, is not there. It floats around. It misbehaves. Most bizarrely. Sometimes you can even see it outside the craft, as I showed in a previous video. Anyway, so this is now pressurized, so we will move Linman out. So transfer crew, Linman, airlock, and we will do the EVA. This picture shows up now, comrades. It didn't do before. Strange. Ah well, we can see them in the airlock now. That's excellent. So EVA, and there you see what I meant with the sort of, in finger quotes, the right side up. But anyway, so we will, I love this suit. This is now the first time I'm having a look at this. So release. Just turn that off and rotate a little. How awesome is that? Just with a one light. You know, it has the sense of being a slightly older suit. Look at the textures as well. It's like this rubber. Excellent, excellent. But I also thought when I was looking at the pictures, you know, the old ones that we already have, the suits, they look to me like spacewalk suits. These look like you would have on a planet almost, you know. So for going for planetary excursions. Interesting. Where's our upper stage booster? Where is that thing now? Have we drifted so far away from it? Really? Could it be? There it is. Okay, I was just looking a bit in the wrong direction there. Let's go visit it. For science, we're going to have a look at it. No! Good grief, other way. Lights on. Aha! Okay, so now we can imagine she is looking around. She is a scientist, so she will be investigating the sort of damage, if there is any damage to this upper stage, or just its general appearance, or something. I'm sure she will have a look there. That's also another thing. Now, do we go up or down? Down. That we can do with the Voskhod, or even the Vostok. And I'll just show you once we get back to it. Now, of course, if you're doing, for example, a science campaign, then of course money would not be too much of an issue, but you still need to unlock the parts. I'm not sure how long it would take to unlock all of this. Look at that. Even the light has a bit of a yellowish tinge to it. How interesting is that? Because it's shining through the visor. Details, comrades, details. Anyway, then you could attach some instruments, some scientific instruments to the upper part of the service module here. That will also make it look more like the real thing, which had all sorts of gizmos and things up here for various reasons. So then it's not just this plain surface there. You can have various like barometers and thermometers and all sorts of things there. But anyway, let us go back to the airlock and just turn off the light here and prepare for the re-entry. We're not going to stay out here too long. We want to see the landing. F and board. Excellent. Right click, transfer crew Linman into the capsule again. Now everyone is happy, so we're just going to activate this engine now. Maybe I should have the... No, for your sake, if you want to make maneuvers, I won't put the decoupler first, because then you might do it by accident. So, no, we'll do it like this. Now we're done with the airlock, so we are going to ditch it. Let's hope this works well. Oof, no, good grief. That's a problem. It's not because of the decoupler. The force was turned down to 5 this time. That was because the whole thing was clipped too much. Then I think what we're going to have, comrades, is when I upload the craft file, you will see it will be sticking out through the fairing. I'm not going to make a huge bulge in the fairing. That also doesn't look right. So we're just going to have to live with a slight clipping of the airlock through the fairing. I'll do a test to see if it interferes when it detaches the fairing. It shouldn't. But this is too violent. I don't like that. Let's go around and pick a daytime re-entry. Of course, ideally we should aim for a low-lying area, because especially if we hit a mountain, we're going to be rolling and then people are going to die. Now we have to pretend, in that other demonstration I did use the upper stage retro, but we can still do it because I like it. It's something different. So let's move to prograde. and then fire the solid-fueled emergency re-entry package thing. Much more gentle this time. Let's see if it's enough. Oh, I hope so. It's enough. It's not. This is now at a 200-kilometer orbit, but it obviously doesn't bring you down to the land level, but that will already be down in the thicker atmosphere, so it will slow us down. So I think it is perfectly adequate. However, for our sake, just to get down to the ground a bit faster, I'm going to burn the main engine as well. There we go. Let's try and aim for this space center. I'm not sure if we'll manage it. I never get to land near it when I do this sort of thing. I always miss. Only if I have the trajectories mod do I get more or less right. Anyway, so now let's detach the booster thing there on the top. That goes very gently and smoothly, but we'll keep the service module on for a little while longer to benefit from the electricity and all of that. Okay, ditch it now. I think we're probably going to overshoot now. Let's just burn retro then. It also depends on the angle of your entry and the shape of the craft and all of that. Oh well, we're going to land pretty close. Good enough, good enough, good enough. Otherwise we're going to have too much of a sharp re-entry. Ditch that thing so we drop off there. Oh, okay, so the retro rockets do stick out on the bottom, so I'm just going to have to fix that. Just turn the antennas back in. And speed it up. I'll see you on the ground, comrades, or near. Okay, quite close still. We can at least see the space center, so I still count that as a win. Let's deploy the parachute. And at least the retro rockets did not blow up, but I still don't want them sticking out like this. Oh, there's the magnifying thing floating around again. Because this does look weird. You know, it's supposed to be a spherical capsule. That's also why I moved the antennas down as much as possible. So at least these boosters will still work without sticking out. So while they're clipping, they still work perfectly fine. Because I can't attach it to the parachute lines. But that's how it goes. Now we should see going to 10 meters per second. Let's just see. Bit of a knock there. A little bit less this time. Okay, but still too much speed. We want our Kerbals to land in a much nicer way. Yes, I don't know what that was. Guess that was the re-entry booster maybe that survived. So for this we want to activate it at the last second, so the last 10 meters. Now unfortunately you're going to have to eyeball that if you don't have the Kerbal Engineer mod, but now... so nice, comrades. It was a bit too long of a burn. I might bring it down a bit. But that's it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So then again, of course, you'll have to eyeball it because the sea level is not always where, obviously, if you land on land, it's not going to show you the real number. So once you get close to the ground, just activate it. And that's it for today, comrades. I hope you've enjoyed. In the next installment, we will be looking at the Soyuz, so that should be quite fun as well. So thank you for watching, comrades. Have a fantastic day, and I hope you're enjoying making history.